the spirit of Christmas and the holidays be with you, your friends and your family. From 560 WIND.
This is so nice. I mean, I feel like reliving our childhood here, listening to all these jingles from WIND from the past, and we're gonna change them up. We're gonna go listen to Dan and Amy.
Really?
Yeah,
'Cause that's what 560 was back in the year 560, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
WI rock and roll, baby.
Right.
So Julie Kelly, tell
Yes.
me about her.
Well, she used to write for National Review. She's
Yes.
from, I got to be careful because I once said that she was from Oak Lawn and she Orland Park.
There's a big difference.
Well, they're O's. They're all part of the great metropolitan area of the city of Chicago. Anyway, and she wrote for National Review. She used to write about GMOs and things like that, which I thought was a car. But anyway, she's graduated to alienating at least half of the conservative movement because there's a schism. The intramural fights are the best ones. So it's the Never Trumpers versus the Trumpers, and she, among other things, she's written about that, and she joined us on our turnkey something or what's it
It's called the Turnkey.pro answer line.
There we go.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Great. How are you?
Very good. Very good. So, Amy, you noticed something, didn't you?
A tweet that she put up?
Yes.
Yes. After listening to a bunch of Never Trumpers whine this week about people being mean on Twitter because of Trump, I offer this. Maybe it's not Trump that causes others to think you are insufferable, sanctimonious, self-pitying, hypocritical cranks. It's not him. It's you.
She fit that in 280 characters. Julie, congratulations to you. Could you expound on it for a few more characters?
Well, I'm going to expound on it hopefully for an article in the next few days. But look, Bruce, you follow this closely. Amy, I don't know how closely you do, but what you were talking about, Bruce, there is definitely a huge divide right now in so-called conservative circles or the right Republican Party. People who, support Trump, support his policies, understand what he's trying to do for the country, and the conservatives who are left out of all of that. And those are people, a small group of people, but they have a strong voice, a small group who opposed the president from the get-go, opposed him in the primary. Some of them actually supported Hillary Clinton, and that fight still continues. Now, it was reignited a little bit last week when the Weekly Standard, which is kind of the mothership of the Never Trumpers, was murdered, committed suicide, any of the metaphors that they wanted to use. But look, these people are angry that they're not getting their way. They are rooting for the president to fail, and they want us to be punished for continuing to support him. And, when people fight back at them for the hateful things they either say about the president, his supporters, his family, his administration, then all of a sudden we're the meanies and they're the victims. And so that was the crux of that tweet.
So, it's interesting. I voted for the president. I'll probably vote for him again, I think. But I liked the Weekly Standard, too. I think of the Weekly Standard as like Andrew Ferguson comparing Barack Obama's Dreams from My Father with the McGinnis biography, which proved that Obama didn't come up with composite characters. He came up with totally fraudulent characters. So the Weekly Standard served the purpose there. I like John Podhoretz's movie reviews and the like. But, I think it was a little bit overwrought to say that the Weekly Standard was murdered. I mean, we believe in Schumpeter's creative destruction. So all of it. But when it happens to us, we start crying about it, Julie.
Well, exactly. And look, it wasn't so much that the Weekly Standard was anti-Trump, and that's what these folks don't understand. They wrote a cover piece, a hit piece on Devin Nunes, who is the one guy in Washington who is uncovering this Spygate, whatever you want to call it, at great personal and professional cost to him. They wrote a hit piece against him in July, authored by a Democratic activist author. Now, that's not being anti-Trump. Devin Nunes is uncovering exactly what conservatives have fought against for decades, which is a powerful state that uses its power and its authority to attack and punish their political enemies. That's what we are all about, is defending individual liberty and our constitutional rights against a powerful government. He's actually doing it, and because they hate Trump, they went after someone like Devin Nunes. They've gone after Jim Jordan. They've gone after Ron DeSantis. real conservatives. And so that was part of the reason that the Weekly Standard wasn't even sold out. The owner wanted it dead, wanted to send a message, and he did.
Yeah, speaking of the deep state, were you the one who kind of highlighted what Comey said the other day? Are you the one who gave it traction when he basically said, I pulled a fast one on the incoming administration?
Yes, we did. He gave a speech last Sunday. He was interviewed by Nicole Wallace, the MSNBC host, and it was a very comfortable setting. So, of course, Comey, who never stops bragging about himself and his high moral standards and principles, never.
And he knew nothing about the author of the Steele dossier, too. Nothing about it.
Not only that, admitted he never saw the opening documents that initiated the investigation into the Trump campaign. He never saw the documents. Don't know who started it. Don't know who was involved. This is so that's a little frightening. But he was bragging on stage about how he bypassed normal protocol. That if it were the Bush or Obama administrations, before he sent agents to interview Michael Flynn, he would have contacted the White House counsel's office. He said there'd be discussions back and forth, who would be there, what the interview would be about. But he said since it was so early in the administration, it was so disorganized, he just sent his FBI agents in 4 days after the inauguration to corner Mike Flynn, and then we know what happened there.
Right.
So yes, we were the first ones to break that story, and then it kind of went viral, and now he's being called out really for the fraud that he is.
I wanted to get your opinion about what happened yesterday. Another bombshell from President Trump declaring victory over ISIS via Twitter, and then saying he's planning on pulling out 2,000 troops from eastern Syria without ever informing the State Department or the Pentagon or the Department of Defense. How is this going to create a bigger gap in the Republican Party? Because you have Adam Kinzinger coming out. You have, the normal suspects, but Marco Rubio's upset by this. This really doesn't help unify the Republican Party, correct?
It doesn't, but I will say this is what Trump does. And I think that, he is pushing back on things that either the public doesn't know about. How many Americans really knew we have a few thousand troops in Syria? Very few, I'm sure. And so he's kind of beating up, what is acceptable policy, or that policy that's not understood or conveyed to the American public. And so now we can have a discussion about it. And I think that that's fair. I don't know all the details about it. I see people on both sides who I respect, who have differing opinions, so I'd like to look at it. But that's what we should be doing. And so he doesn't always do it in the most graceful or diplomatic way, but he does start a conversation that's necessary. And I'll tell you, Bruce and Amy, this is a big risk of what people say at the Weekly Standard and the establishment conservative have done to themselves. They pushed us into wars we probably should never have been in or shouldn't have stayed in. And now they have no credibility, and people are very concerned about continuing to send U.S. troops around the world in places that maybe we shouldn't be there. And so I think that to that end, Trump and his people are opening up those conversations, and I think that they're necessary conversations for us to have.
Well, of course, I disagree with you on that, Julie. But
tell us why you disagree.
No, because it's you neocons, the Israeli lobby. It's too complicated. I really don't know. I remember when Obama said it was, ISIS was a JV team, and now, and even Trump,
even Trump, jobs for ISIS members.
Well,
they just need to work.
Right. Even Trump criticized Obama for that, but Trump likes to be on both sides of it. But here's the thing. Here's what I really love what you do. In addition to alienating the Never Trumpers, because they deserve. Hey, I did the dirty work and voted for Trump. Okay, the Never Trumpers can say, "Oh no, I can't sully myself with that," because
and Never Trumpers voted
he's
for
a buffoon.
Who?
Meanwhile, we've got a couple of Supreme Court justices, and may get Amy Coney Barrett as well. But what I really like what you do is you can constantly chronicle the double standards in the media. The New York Times, whoever who will dwell on what. It's Pruitt did as the EPA chief, but we'll never talk about what happened, and had a blind eye to what happened during the Obama administration. And again, you pounded that, and that is so important. That's really what I love about Trump is that he exposes fake news. As crazy as he is, he's lampooning and highlighting, underscoring what the news media do, and you do as well, and in meticulous detail.
Well, we have another example of that this week. There was a man, a top government official, who was charged with one count of lying to the FBI in 2017. And he is trying to get out of his punishment, not go to jail, have probation time. It's not Mike Flynn. It is the security chief for the Senate Intelligence Committee who was caught by the FBI not only leaking classified top secret information to journalists, including his 30-plus younger girlfriend.
Oy.
He lied repeatedly to the FBI. How often? Now, ask yourself, have you heard the name James Wolfe this week, or have you heard Michael Flynn? All you hear about is Mike Flynn. James Wolfe has basically had no media coverage, even though what he did was far more dangerous, reckless than what Michael Flynn did. And that's just another double standard.
I mean, is he still together with his 30-year-old girlfriend?
No, she's off to somebody else, and I think he is too. I don't know. He's claiming to, put his life back together in his marriage. But look, what he did was dangerous. He went out, he leaked the FISA information, which is a felony. He leaked FISA information about Carter Page in April 2017 to help destroy Carter Page, which he almost did. So that's far more reckless than what Mike Flynn told Mike Pence about a conversation with a Russian ambassador. There's no security threat there. What James Wolfe actually did was very dangerous. He lied repeatedly to the FBI, not only in an interview, but on a printed questionnaire.
Right.
And now he may get the same punishment that Mike Flynn is getting, but far less media coverage.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I didn't know, so thanks for bringing that to our attention. We briefly spoke about it, but I didn't know his sentencing was soon. Speaking of sentencing, Michael Flynn's sentencing delayed, or General Mike Flynn, I should say, after 30 years of service to this country. He's cooperated with the FBI. The FBI seemed to try and throw out a lifeline to him in front of the judge, like, hey, what's going on here? Do you think he's going to face prison time come March 13th?
I don't think that he will for this offense. I think he has some real serious legal jeopardy for his lobbying on behalf of Turkish interests. That's a far more dangerous. And I think that's why he's sticking to his plea here and not saying that he was entrapped, which he obviously was, because they are threatening to go after him and his son for some of their foreign lobbying activities. But no, even Mueller's team has recommended to the judge that he serve the lowest range of the sentence, which is 0 to 6 months in jail. So my guess is he won't get any jail time.
And you talk about double standards. You compare and contrast the treatment of Hillary by the FBI with the Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills versus Mike Flynn, who was actually, he didn't need to have his Miranda rights read to him because he wasn't in custody. But on the other hand, he was seduced, and they said, McCabe says, you don't need an attorney. That's an affirmative action on the part of the government, and
but
it was
they brought
really
that up
sleazy.
at his sentencing hearing, and that's why the judge. Well, I think that agitated the judge.
Well, he baited Flynn on that one. But you talk about compare and contrast the treatment of Hillary Clinton with Mike Flynn.
Right. I mean, there's a long list of people you could contrast with how they've treated Mike Flynn. And look, Mike Flynn and Andrew McCabe, who is Comey's disgraced deputy, he admitted in his own memo that Flynn viewed the FBI agents who were coming in as allies. I mean, that's what they said. So Mike Flynn didn't view the agents as somebody who, as we would if the FBI agent showed up at our house. He viewed them as really coworkers who were discussing how to move forward in, any contacts with foreign adversaries or foreign ambassadors. Now, look, and I've written a piece, and I really urge people to look at this. The Russian ambassador, who's at the center of not just the Flynn controversy, was at the center of the reason why Jeff Sessions recused himself, tried to also target Jared Kushner. This ambassador was very close with the Obama White House. He visited more than 36 times, including September of 2016. I have a piece up at American Greatness. I think people should read it because he was also part of the setup of Mike Flynn.
Does
so
did
this is
Kislyak work for Fusion? I mean, let's put all these things together.
Right.
Was he part of that
Did he
Perkins law
fund the
firm
Steele
as well?
dossier?
He's not even a Russian.
Oh no, yeah. But I
He's
didn't know that.
married
What
to
was?
Natalia. Yeah.
Oh, who's he married
okay,
to?
yeah, right.
No, yeah. No, but
No,
what
the
would him
Russian
and
lawyer.
President Obama discuss? I mean, how are they? That seems like unlikely bedfellows.
Well, I mean, he's an ambassador. He was close with people in the Obama White House. He entertained there. He was also very close with his American counterpart, who is still a very vocal anti-Trump former official. So, here's a question back to the Mike Flynn. The day that the Russian sanctions were announced, why did Kislyak call Mike Flynn? Mike Flynn was on vacation. He wasn't even aware that the Obama administration had announced the sanctions. Why would a Russian ambassador call Mike
That's right.
Flynn?
He was in Dominican Republic, wasn't he, on
That's
vacation?
right.
Yep.
Yes. So he wasn't even aware. Kislyak calls him to ask him specifically about the sanctions. Mike Flynn apparently doesn't know his conversations are being recorded. Mike Flynn's conversations were being recorded too. Not Kislyak, Mike Flynn's. And so that's where all of this started. And
That's
yeah,
interesting.
the setup.
All right.
Yeah, the setup just keeps getting deeper
Wait-
and deeper
wait a minute.
of Mike Flynn.
Who was at the White House more, Kislyak or Jan Schakowsky's husband? Which one was at the White House more? Okay.
All right,
Well-
Julie Kelly, thank you so much for spending time with us. We already got a text message in saying this woman is amazing. A shout out to Orland Park.
Yeah.
It must be my husband.
There we go.
All right, no. All right, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for joining
Julie.
us. We'd love to have you back.
Thank
and
you guys.
happy
Thanks so much.
holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Yep,
Thanks.
and she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.